Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. This is Naaman with the DC Camp, a branch of Great Millstone, back for another video. First and foremost, call all Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Rikahakwadash, and of course, once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. I'd like to also send out salutations to the fellow Akim that are out there on the highways and byways and that continually upload videos that are for our people's edification, all right, and that help spread the truth across the four corners of this earth, all right, because time is limited, all right. So what we have here today, again, is an example of why you should not worship men, or in this particular case, a man, because the MAGAs and these other supremacists, they just thought that this guy Trump was their savior. Also, not to mention the people that actually set him up and made a way for him to, especially the second time, get into office, and that's the JOOs. All right, they've given him all kinds of awards, and especially, let's see, what was it? The ZOA, the Zionist of America Award. Yeah, and it's only limited amount of people that actually got that. Let's see if I can. Oh man, let's see if I can find that. Hold on. Salakia for that. I brought that out in my last video, but yeah, they gave him that award that, you know, prime ministers had received and other, heads of state, even Lord Balfour, which is a whole nother video because his grandson or great grandson has come out. He's making tours, calling himself apologizing because they say they didn't think it was going to turn out the way it turned out, as far as those people over there in the Holy Land doing what they did and are doing. But anyway, so here we are here, and this is about all kinds of things coming out in these emails, all right, with DJ Trump. So let's just go ahead and get into this, because hey, this is actually kind of, well, it's not kind of, it actually is funny, all right, because all you people out there, we keep telling you this whole fucking system is corrupt, all right, and these people that you think are going to offer you some type of ray of sunshine and hope, they're deeper into it than anybody else. This is all a show. All right, here we go.
Hey there, folks. Hope you're doing well today. Well, we had some big updates in regards to the Epstein files. The House Oversight Committee, ran by Democrats, released 3 interesting emails that tied Donald Trump and Epstein in what could be interpreted as some pretty scandalous ways. Now, not to be outdone, the Republicans released even a larger amount of documents, about 20,000 pages, which included a lot of email correspondence of Epstein's. And that's what we want to go through today. And as we go through these emails, you'll really see why Trump ordered his administration to really try to scrape his name from all of this. There are some emails in here that have you thinking they either really did a half-assed job, or this is a batch of documents that was never scraped clean. Now, a lot of them aren't incriminating, but really just show a pattern of behavior. Let's dive in.
This is an email from Jeffrey Epstein to Landon Thomas Jr., New York Times journalist, in 2015, after Landon Thomas said that everyone was coming to him thinking that he had juicy info on Epstein and Trump. Quote, "Read the BuzzFeed Read My Airplane Logs and Hawaiian Tropic Contest, / have them ask my houseman about Donald almost walking through the door, leaving his nose print on the glass as young women were swimming in the pool, and he was so focused he walked straight into the door."
So we recently made a joke about Ben Carson walking into doors, and it turns out, I guess we missed on that one. Turns out it's Donald Trump. Let's see what's next.
In the very same email thread about how people assumed there was juicy info, Epstein also says, quote, "Would you like photos of Donald and girls in bikinis in my kitchen?" End quote.
Okay, and so that's another theme we're going to see throughout these emails. Not only are we going to see patterns of behavior of men with young girls, but also people collecting and talking about compromise. Now, Donald Trump has claimed that him and Epstein broke off their relationship a long time ago after some beef at the Mar-a-Lago club. However, these emails indicate differently, just as the claims made by Epstein and Michael Wolff's recordings. Let's take a look.
In an email thread from an unknown redacted sender as of 2017, a visitor was on their way to Epstein's house, notably the second floor of Epstein's house, which is where prominent victim Virginia Giuffre specifically indicated the massage tables were, and the bedrooms with cameras were documented in evidence photographs, aka the place where abuse occurred. This unknown person went to meet him as part of an exchange where they asked for a door while Epstein said the house is more private for a meeting. Suddenly, quote, "I'm at the door, but I will wait for my time. I don't want to come early to Trump in your house." And keep in mind, this is 2017, nearly a decade after the two had supposedly parted ways.
And so there's a lot to take in there, and let's take
Yeah,
back
exactly.
and try to look at the bigger picture. This is not a conversation between two people trying to name Donald Trump, but instead two people trying
Actually
to
more,
navigate
because he
business
told people
below
that
Donald Trump and
it
communicating
was
the details of the situation.
2003, 2004.
And Inson puts Donald upstairs at Epstein's house, where it's been documented that abuse happens. And this is while Donald Trump is president. And this one of so many emails would leave Kash Patel or Dan Bongino shell-shocked, where they're just like, whoa, what? Oh, we can't talk about this. There's nothing to see there. I mean, if you remember the game of Clue, it was about putting the suspect at the right place at the right time. Now, it's not just Trump that's mentioned in these emails. Here we're going to see that Bannon had a very close relationship with Epstein and was very in the know about the details of what Epstein was doing. Also, we should note that Bannon came out not too long ago saying that he had large amounts of Epstein interviews that he conducted, just as Michael Wolff does too. But we should take what both of them say with a grain of salt, as again, we see them closely tied to Epstein and very aware of his actions if not involved.
This is an exchange allegedly between Steve Bannon and Jeffrey Epstein. Reading, quote, from Epstein, "Prince Andrew and Trump today. Too funny, Bannon. Recall Prince Andrew's accuser came from Mar-a-Lago." Further down, "Can't believe no one is making you the connective tissue," referring to Epstein. To which Epstein then replies, "F and B only," end quote. Seemingly speaking in code, I guess. I'm not really sure what that one, but I certainly thought it interesting.
We also see Epstein communicating with a former White House counsel of Barack Obama.
Exchange between Kathy Romer, White House counsel to Jeffrey Epstein in 2014. Quote from Epstein, "You need to talk to boss," Romer responds, "but I need to be prepared to yes before I talk to Epstein again. Understood. It comes down to high risk/reward, low risk/reward, professional, remote, and fun." Romer responds, "Girls do not have to worry about this crap." And Epstein says,
A lawyer, mind you.
"Careful, I will renew the habit," after he lists off some of the world's most powerful businessmen and politicians, saying, "You are a welcome guest at any. So if you think there are interesting people in town, everyone here for Clement Clinton Security Council, holy shit, I'm on or next 30 minutes." End quote.
Now, I'm not 100% sure, but that really feels like a predator manipulating a victim, the way that Epstein is talking to, and the veiled threats involved, talking about the risk and reward, then tying that to professional, emotional, and financial, and then the threat of renewing the old habit. And an email like this could build to the case that Epstein was blackmailing people.
This is another exchange between Rumler and Epstein on a thread titled Donald
Exactly.
Trump's High Crimes and Misdemeanors. Rumler says, quote, "It makes no difference whether it was his money. Issue is failure to disclose. Plus, fact that he has lied his ass off about it makes clear that he knew it was illegal." To which Epstein responds, "You see, I know how dirty Donald is. My guess is that non-lawyers, New York biz people, have no idea what it means to have your fixer flip." End quote.
Now, in this email,
"It makes no difference whether it was his money. Issue is failure to disclose. Plus, fact that he has lied his ass off about it makes clear that he knew it was illegal." To which Epstein responds, "You see, I know how dirty Donald is. My guess is that non-lawyers, New York biz people, have no idea what it means to have your fixer flip." End quote.
now in this email, Epstein mentions the fixer flipping, which he's probably referring to Michael Cohen. He talks about he knows how dirty Donald is, and we all saw it. I mean, this is why Donald Trump is a 34-time convicted felon, and his CFO had to spend a bunch of time in Rikers Island twice. But it is concerning when you hear someone like Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted child predator, talking about, I know how dirty the President of the United States is. Okay, and this is when shit gets really weird. And why Dan Bongino and Kash Patel had that, like, just shell-shocked, like, what the fuck look on their face when they were out there trying to tell everyone there's
Damn.
nothing to see there. We gotta begin by just adding a little bit of context. In Jeffrey Epstein, shell-shocked, like, what the fuck look on their face when they were out there trying to tell everyone there's nothing to see there. We gotta begin by just adding a little bit of context. In Jeffrey Epstein's New York home, he had a coat closet.
And it's so fucking funny because they came in like gangbusters. Get these Democrats that represent they, them, and all this other shit, you know. Oh man, they came in riding the white horse and look at this shit just 11 months in. Look at it. All the stuff that's coming out. All right, this place is falling. As it says in Jeremiah, there is no healing of that bruise. All right, this is a bruise. All right, Habakkuk 2:16. All right, this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 16. Because there's no repairing of your image. All right, it's damaged beyond repair. All right. This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 16. Thou art filled with shameful glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Most High, Yahweh's right hand, shall be turned unto thee. All right. And shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. And people are seeing this. America is a laughing stock. It's going down. And you're seeing all this chaos happening in South America. There's a reason, and to include Mexico. There's a lot going on here, and they're doing this in order to try to salvage something. All right, like I say, you're seeing the fall of an empire here. All right, and other countries, particularly China, they see what's going on. That's why you're seeing their lending their hand to like Venezuela, and the shit's going on in Mexico now with that newly elected president, which seems to be an Amalekite, and it seems to be what you would call a color war going on down there. All right, but let's get back to this. All these things are being manufactured. It's other things going on, but that's why you got to be patient and that spirit of discernment that helps, but be able to, because nothing is as it seems on the surface.
and inside that coat closet hung a painting. painting of Bill Clinton. But it wasn't
Uh-oh.
any ordinary painting. Bill Clinton was wearing a dress and heels, as we see here. And there's plenty of evidence that Donald Trump was once close to Bill Clinton and Bill Clinton close to Epstein, and all of these people ran in the same circle. No one had any idea, though, how weird shit got. And this email between Epstein and Epstein's brother really adds some color and context. Let's take a look.
This particular email thread between Jeffrey Epstein and Mark Epstein, his brother, 2018, which says, quote, "How are you doing? All good, Bannon with me. Ask him if Putin has the photos of Trump blowing Bubba." And I thought I had Cirrus. You and your boy Donnie can make a remake of the movie Get Hard. You mean Donnie T. For the sake of clarity right now, just in case anybody didn't pick up on this, he doesn't say if Putin has photos. He says if Putin has the photos, implying their definitive existence. And Bubba, by the way, is one of Bill Clinton's nicknames.
I've been excited to receive this for a very long time. The book, The Ultimate Guide to Rebuilding a Civilization.
And this is Salakia, because it's Salakia. I've since heard that. What is that? How do you spell that woman's name? Just main. There it is. That she has a horse. Let's see. Fact check. All right. Let's see. All right. Is Bubba Ghislaine Maxwell's horse? Mark Epstein. Salakia. Mark Epstein, brother of convicted sex offender Jeffrey, clarified that the Bubba in the Trump blowing Bubba email was not Bill Clinton. The identity of Bubba has remained a mystery after the latest tranche of Jeffrey Epstein emails took to the world by storm. In the other emails from the convicted child sex offenders, there is a mention of Trump blowing Bubba. The reference to Salakia. The reference to President Donald Trump kicked up a row, and with many speculating Bubba to be former President Bill Clinton. This thing is just a bizarre claim has been made that Ghislaine, however you say her name, Maxwell had a horse named Bubba. This outlandish claim, to be sure, comes from unverified profiles and has been widely circulated online. What to know about Ghislaine Maxwell's horse? While several social media profiles have claimed that Maxwell had a horse named Bubba, there is no official report on the same. However, Epstein's accomplice has made no secret of her love for horses. In an interview with Talk TV, Maxwell had shared the times she interacted with the late Queen of England. She had said the story that we shared was about horses because I love horses and she loves horses. And so we talked about horses briefly. I remember the Queen of England, the late Queen of England. All right. And that was one of her great loves. Maxwell is now in federal prison and recently told Trump that Epstein, like a little personal ex wrote, wait a minute. Maxwell owned a horse named Bubba. Another added, fun fact, Maxwell had a horse named Bubba. The plot thickens. Said, and that's coming from, think about it, that's like Satan saying that you're evil. All right. Let's see. A person claiming to be an independent investigative journalist wrote, Maxwell's actual horse was named Bubba. No, seriously. Before Epstein's downfall, she had a show jumper with UK registries. All right. Does the email refer to a horse named Bubba? The email where Mark Epstein speaks out Trump blowing Bubba has drawn much scrutiny, and the new bizarre claim now says that Bubba might have been Maxwell's horse. However, Mark's spokesperson, Ali, or whatever, Clark, indicated in an email that Bubba refers to a private individual who is not a public figure. Thus, it is unlikely that Bubba could refer to Maxwell's horse, even if she had one of the same name. Other theories about Bubba emerge. With Clinton's name getting knocked off, there have been numerous claims about others named Bubba. This has gone to include golfer Bubba Watson and NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace, among others. Notably, hold on. All right. Notably, these claims have not been backed by any. God dang it! Backed by any proof. Damn it! All right. These claims have not been backed by any proofs. In 2020, Trump has Bubba Wallace apologized to all of those great NASCAR drivers and officials who came to his aid, stood by his side, and were willing to sacrifice everything for him, only to find out that the whole thing was just another hoax. All right. Meanwhile, Gary Lester, Bubba Watson Jr., is an American pro golfer who has been supportive of Trump expressing belief. You get it. I'll just post that link because this thing has been known. I don't want to push it too far. Just cut off and I'll just lose the video. But in any case, yeah, you get the idea, hopefully. They're just throwing a lot of names out there to include the horse. All right, here we go.
where we're all just like, what the
what
fuck?
the fuck?
Like, we all knew there was gonna be some weird shit in these files. But none of us saw this shit coming. But not only that, there should be this giant red flag that Bannon has an awareness of what Putin is holding. Right? Either that Bannon and Putin are in communication, and Putin is telling him, or that Bannon himself has given things to Putin. But again, maybe we should just revisit this whole idea of presidents sucking each other's dicks. This is just like, what the? No one wants these pictures in their head. Pay for our fucking therapy. But now that we have this kind of awareness or this context,
He needs to pay for our fucking therapy. But now that we have this kind of awareness or this context, let's look back on an old video, Donald Trump talking about how much Putin respects him, how he doesn't even know him. Let's take a look.
What do I have to get involved with Putin for? I have nothing to do with Putin. I've never spoken to him. I don't know anything about him other than he will respect me. He doesn't respect our president. And if it is Russia, which is probably not, nobody knows who it is, but if it is Russia, it's really bad for a different reason, because it shows how little respect they have for our country when they would hack into a major party and get everything. But it would be interesting to see. I will tell you this. Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing. I think you will probably be rewarded mightily by our press.
So,
Donald Trump.
Typical Donald.
Reflection. Because but you still health care, they get universal health care over there at the expense of the American people. You complain about socialism and you provide it to them over there. That's why this place has got to go. It's the hypocrisy is, oh man.
I don't know this guy, but then says, but he's going to respect me. As if he knows who I am and we have a relationship. Then the irony here, too, right? Well, he's calling for the release of emails, and we just see, I don't know, 20,000 emails from Epstein. Really got to paint this different picture. Let's see what we got next.
Simple email from Michael Wolff. Quote, "There's an opportunity to come forward this week and talk about Trump in such a way that could garner you great sympathy and help finish him. Interested?
And so
Interested.
that is another
End quote.
theme we're going to
And
see
so that
throughout
is
all these
another theme
emails.
we're going to see
This
throughout all these emails. This implication, or even
a
a claim by
Epstein himself
Epstein
that
himself
he has
that
the
he has
ability
the
to
ability
finish Trump
to
or
finish Trump or expose
In the
Trump.
next email,
In the next
we're going to see
email,
more
we're going to
evidence
see
or
more
claims.
evidence or claims.
In the next
In
email,
the next
as we saw
email,
in
as we
previous
saw in previous email.
All right, I'm back. Had to straighten out a few things there. So this is the author, Michael Wolff, right here, that they're referring to in the email. All right. This is him right here. All right. Just letting you know the players here.
Antidepressant, ADHD, and other drugs is what makes Trump appealing and his flaws invisible. Will you have Jeffrey Epstein if he'll have a fucking cabinet position with Trump in 2015? After which she also says, "Do you think he can win? Speak, please. What do you think?" To which he replies, "Too far to tell. We will know much more come October 15th. But then, after she asks, "You still in Paris?" Epstein says, "Trump Tower." Keep in mind, we have been repeatedly told to believe that the two separated completely sometime in the early 2000s. If that's true, why would Epstein's friend be asking him whether or not he'll have a cabinet position while he stays at Trump Tower? Why would Epstein's close friend be asking him whether or not he'll have a cabinet position while he stays at Trump Tower? Now,
Tear up your car
insurance bill and
All right. I'll post a link, of course, but for time's sake, let's go to this one. This is Sabby Sabs, of course, and we're going to pick up at around the 13 minutes and 16 because it's almost an hour long. So we're just going to go for about 15 minutes or so here. All right.
Palms years ago, they let him go. Let's continue. Just hold on, we're moving on. This is another one. Jeffrey Epstein says that Bill Clinton never went to his island. Let's take a look at that email. This is between Jeffrey Epstein and the Duke. You okay? These stories are complete and utter fantasy. I don't know and have never met Al Gore. Clinton was never on the island. The telephone book is not mine. It was stolen by my houseman that is currently in prison for doing so. I don't know which Duke that could be. It says the Duke, so that's probably someone who's royalty. But I want to bring something up. Let's say this is the case and Clinton was never on the island.
Let's say this is the case and Clinton was never on the island. That still doesn't mean Clinton didn't do anything wrong.
There were the girls from Palm Beach.
As I told you,
he was
there were
assaulting
the
women in
girls
Palm
from
Beach.
Palm
There was a young
Beach.
woman who
He
was
was assaulting
assaulted.
women
Said she
in
was
Palm
assaulted
Beach.
by
There was a
him
young
at a
woman
party
who was
in
assaulted.
Ohio.
Said she was assaulted by him at a party in
So
Ohio.
this is something I think that sometimes people don't really
So this is something I think that
all
sometimes
of the
people don't
activity
really
didn't necessarily happen on
understand.
the island.
All
People
of
that
the
had accused
activity
and some
didn't
of them
necessarily
from the
happen on that island. There were people that had accused Jeffrey Epstein and some of them
No, stop.
from the modeling
Nobody up there.
industry
Here's another.
before the
This
people
point.
came forward from
Spencer
the
said
island.
Why was Epstein emailing all
Nobody
these people
stopped
of
him.
texting
Nobody
them?
stepped in.
Is this
Here's
just
another
boomer-
one. Well, this is a good
Hey,
point.
ma'am.
Spencer
I
said,
don't think it was boomer.
why was Epstein emailing all of these people instead of
Especially as you
texting
do
them?
these emails and you start to
Is
see
this
there's
just
a lot of
boomerism?
conversation back and forth between him and author Michael Wolff.
Paper trail.
And Michael, according to those emails, knew exactly what was going on.
I don't think it was
so I felt like this was a
boomerism
way
at
for
all.
him to
I think that
blackmail
was
those
his way of
people.
keeping a paper trail.
Mm-hmm.
Especially as you
move
go through
the
these
Hillary Clinton
emails and
part.
you start to see
I
there's
like
a
James
lot
Lee. He
of
has the best,
conversation
like,
back and
hit
forth between
on
him and
X.
author Michael
James
Wolff.
Lee said Vince
And Michael
Foster
Wolff,
did not
according
kill
to those
himself.
emails, knew
Why am I
exactly
showing
what
you
was
this
going
picture?
on. So I felt like this
woman
was
on
a
the
way for
left
him to
is Hillary
blackmail those
Clinton.
people.
The gentleman on the right
Let's keep the show
is
moving
Vince
on.
Foster.
Here's the Hillary Clinton part.
Why is Vince
Shout out to
Foster
James Lee. He always has the
important?
best like hits on X. James
take a
Lee
look,
said
shall we?
Vince Foster did not kill himself. Why am I showing you this picture?
Jeffrey
woman on the
Epstein
left
claimed that Hillary
is
Clinton
Hillary
had a
Clinton.
sexual relationship with former attorney and
The
White
gentleman
House
on the
counsel
right
Vince
is
Foster.
Vince Foster.
Vince Foster unalived himself
Why is
in
Vince
1993.
Foster
We'll get to that story in
important?
just a second. But here we go here.
Let's take a look, shall we?
Open this for you guys so you can see it. This is
Jeffrey
Michael Wolff
Epstein
coming
claimed
back
that
up
Hillary
again in the
Clinton had a
emails.
sexual
Author Michael
relationship
Wolff.
with
He
former
says,
attorney
"What's
and
the
White House
thumbnail
counsel
on
Vince
Nussbaum
Foster.
slash
Vince Foster unalived himself
Epstein
in
replies,
1993.
Nussbaum,
We'll get to
White
that story in
House
just a
counsel.
second. But here we go here. Open this for you guys so you can see it. This is Michael Wolff coming back up again in the emails. Author Michael Wolff. He says, what's the thumbnail on Nussbaum slash Foster? Epstein replies, Nussbaum, White House counsel. Hillary doing